Greetings, everyone. Hope all of you are having an absolutely fantastic day. Early access has started for Lost in the Open, a turn-based tactical low fantasy RPG. This one is really interesting, so I thought I'd go ahead and do a video covering it so that those of you who might be interested are aware it's available. So the first thing that makes it interesting is the premise, which I absolutely love. You play as Nervesk, a despot, meaning an evil ruler who survives an assassination attempt right at the beginning of the game, and subsequently has to go on the run from his own castle and town to try to escape the people who attempted to kill him. The game doesn't make it clear what is the moral alignment of the people who tried to kill you. So it's actually very possible that civilians who had gotten tired of your brutality and the way that you had treated them are the ones who are actually responsible for this attempt on your life. But regardless, you are now lost in the open, and there's only two bodyguards with you trying their best to protect you, while the people who have now taken over your town are venturing out and trying to find you to put a permanent end to you. Now, this world that you're in is procedurally generated. Basically, every position you're in, there's going to be 2 or 3 nodes that you can click on, and what is in these nodes is going to be generated by the game. Now, it could be a wide variety of things. Some of them are clearly dangerous. When they're marked in red, means you're going to jump into a fight. Other times you might meet with a vendor who is going to sell you supplies and accessory and weapons and things of that nature. There are some instances where you will run into bandits or dangerous people, even if it's not marked in red. However, you usually have a conversation with them, and if you have specific items or can do specific things, you might be able to get out of combat. For example, I ran into a bunch of bandits and one of their members was injured, and so I gave them some bandages, and instead of me having to get into a fight, they just gave me a bag of gear and went on their way. You can also run into other clans of warriors where they will allow you to recruit people. Now, this is really cool because there's a lot of different options. So you yourself are a two-handed warrior, and you have some leadership abilities you can use as well, but from a weapon standpoint, you'll probably stick with what you have. And then you also have 2 mace and board type of characters, right? So these are the tanks who are supposed to be out front trying to make sure the party is safe. There's a wealth of other characters such as spearmen, duelists, bowmen, crossbowmen, just a bunch of different mechanics that are available to you that would really help in combat, but you've got to find these people and recruit them, and you have to have enough money to do that. And so it becomes a very interesting process trying to flesh out more of your group so you can tackle some of the harder fights that are to come. Now, since we spoke briefly on combat, let's go ahead and get into it. Again, this game is turn-based and tactical, and it has a grid-based system. Positioning is everything, so you can defend yourself well from attacks that come to the front, but if they're from the side or even more so behind you, it's going to really serve as a problem. So you've got to properly position yourself to ensure your flank and behind you is protected so that enemies have a much more difficult time taking out your characters. If you do a poor job of that and your health reaches 0, you are going to be struck down. Now, if a character is struck down, their tenacity rating determines how much of a chance they have to fight and hang on. So most characters start with a base amount of 80 tenacity, which means you have an 80% chance when struck down to still hang on and not completely die. This means that character will be out of the fight, but if you win the fight, they will be available for the next round of combat. They're just going to have an injury, and you have to treat that injury with bandages or the character will become marred. If a injured or marred character goes down down again, they automatically die regardless of their tenacity rating. And if the king, your character, dies, obviously it is game over. But if he just goes down, the fight can continue and his bodyguards and recruits can go ahead and finish the fight for him. Really, really cool system all the way around. The AI is brutal. I played on the easiest difficulty and just tried to do, a bum rushing system where I just went all out assault trying to kill them as quickly as possible. And yeah, I definitely got wiped. I was able to do that for about an hour. I never was able to build up my team to a high amount because people kept on dying. This is absolutely a game where you need to take your time, make good quality tactical decisions, and really look at the landscape to figure out how to make the most of your situation. So for those of you who love tactical combat, absolutely, this game has a lot to offer. Unfortunately, it does have a couple of major drawbacks. Now, this game is in early access, so the dev might already be working on some of these, but I definitely feel like they're going to be worth bringing up. First and foremost, in something that probably doesn't surprise anybody looking at the footage, this game has no voice acting. It's an indie developer. Voice acting costs a lot of money, so I don't have an issue with that, but I know some of you definitely do, so I wanted to make that clear. There is no voice acting whatsoever. You have to read everything. I also felt like the game was a little light on story advancement. Now, again, everything's procedurally generated, right? And so it might have just been the path that I took didn't give me more story bits that I was looking for. But in my playthrough, and I played for about an hour, I, of course, had story moments at the very, very beginning when you start getting on the run. And then I had one sequence where I was stopped by some witches and they basically demanded that I seek atonement for the things that I had previously done. And that was really, really cool. I'm actually looking forward to learning more about what are some of the things he did as a despot that he should be asking forgiveness for, and whether or not he's going to be given some sort of opportunity for redemption, right? But those are the only two story beats that I got in the rest of my playthrough. I didn't really have conversations with anyone about what was going on. There was no opportunity to reflect on how I got here. And so it kind of feels like more of that needs to be sprinkled into the adventure. And I'm not sure if this is just the way the game is going to be and it gives you a great premise and then just tries to put all of its focus on combat, or if there's going to be a lot more story related elements in the full version of the game. But even more importantly than that, I think the biggest thing hindering this game is the lack of animations. So when you go into combat, it's this low fantasy, brutal world. You're barely getting by after this assassination attempt, and the people you're coming up against are equally brutal. The bandits that are roaming the area, or the rival army that is now attempting to put a permanent end to you. These people are absolutely vicious, right? And I feel like the animations and combat should reflect that. But when two figures are attacking each other, it's basically just represented as a nudge. And I don't think that works. All right. Again, I understand indie studio, there's only so much money. There's only so many things you could do. I think it takes away too much from the experience of being in combat, and something has to be done to improve the visual representation of two characters attacking each other. And so hopefully that's something that they're going to be able to address while early access is going on. We shall see. At least that's my thoughts on it. But regardless, I definitely felt like this was worth playing. I enjoyed my time with it. Hopefully they continue to flesh the game out and make it better during early access. I will track this and most likely play it once it fully launches. So let me know down in the comments if there's any particular content you want to see from the game. And if you want to receive more content regarding the game, make sure you subscribe, hit that like button, and there are links down in the description if you want to join as a member or join my Patreon to support the channel. Hope all of you enjoyed this video. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.